deluxeness.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. If you're listening to us for the first time, we review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how that album fits into the context of that artist's career. My name is Adriel Smiley, a.k.a. AdrielSmiley.com, a.k.a. Adriel Smiley Official, a.k.a. The Godfather. And we're here with His Royal Highness, King Grant.
What's up, people? We're back. We're also here with our producer, Patient Zero, Chris.
Patient Zero.
Patient, that's actually, it's fitting because you guys were like sick. You guys actually got sick. So he's actually Patient Zero. We're back. This time it's the late, or not, why do I always say late? I had the great Tyler, the Creator.
There you go.
Call Me If You Get Lost. The estate sale.
Not a deluxe,
Not allegedly.
Allegedly.
But the intro, there is an intro to the estate sale, right? Like on Everything Must Go, there is a whole intro. You know, I collected a new award and we're back and blah, blah, blah. So it's not, I don't know if it's a deluxe.
This is a deluxe. This is the first deluxe in Album Mode history.
That's true. Yeah.
For sure. I obviously, it was a big deal. We mentioned it on Soundbites a few weeks back. But I felt like this was important to talk about for the music itself, for sure, and those Lucy's coming out and everything around it. But to do like a temperature check of where Tyler is kind of compared to everyone else in the industry. So first deluxe in Album Mode history. For anyone who somehow doesn't know, the original Call Me If You Get Lost, released 2021 in June. It won Album of the Year, Rap Album of the Year, I should say, at the Grammys. And this was a big project. One of the most played albums of the year. One of the biggest, I think the biggest tour of the year, I think, other than Bad Bunny.
Yeah, Bad Bunny.
One of the biggest tours of the year. A lot of big features, 42 Doug, NBA Youngboy, Ty Dolla $ign, Wayne, Brent Faiyaz, Pharrell. So this would be the album that would need a deluxe or would get a deluxe of all the Tyler albums. On this project, he comes with the big names again, Vince Staples, A$AP Rocky, YG. So this, it does give the feeling, again, like it really, really came from the time when he made Call Me If You Get Lost. But first and foremost, is there a song from the estate sale that you feel like should have been on the original?
Oh, Stuntman. Stuntman with Vince Staples. It still has that chaotic energy that the rest of the original project had. I think that a lot of other songs on this kind of, they vary in their production style. But Stuntman still has the cowbell and it's like the big horns and the 2-word showing you how to stunt, like 3-word right chorus. So I think that one would have fit the original project. But I'm happy it didn't make this one. It did switch up the vibe almost immediately when it ended, but that is the one that should have been on the original. I'm even confident enough to say that it should have been there, I think.
Especially when you think of the fact that Vince and him were on tour together, that could have been a moment that they do that song together. Because Tizo Touchdown was on his tour as well, and Tizo Touchdown was on the album. But Stuntman reminded me of a different time of Tyler, which I thought was very interesting. It reminded me of that Wolf, Cherry Bomb era. It gives me some Tamale vibes. So I thought it was very interesting because he doesn't have any songs like that on Call Me If You Get Lost. So I think that was a great choice of that would have been a whole different vibe than what he had on there originally. It would have fit still, but there was no Stuntman on there. Stuntman could have been a single. Stuntman could have been maybe the biggest song from there in terms of a lot of people knowing that one just because of the kind of song it is. So I think Stuntman's a great choice. I want to start with the lyrics on this. I think that Tyler.
Wait, before we even get to lyrics, because I had a question when I was listening to this entire project, right? Do you think that the leaks were planned?
Oh, because 100%.
Remember when the leaks came out, I want to say earlier this year, that's all people were talking about, right? And it was even, I think there was 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they were getting played all over TikTok. That's all people were talking about, like in real life.
Yeah.
And then on TikTok, the leaks were kind of like they were the sound that were playing under a bunch of TikToks. So listening to this, and I remember him even tweeting, "Is like, there's a bunch of songs that I want to include on Call Me If You Get Lost, but I never had the chance or didn't fully fit." And then I was like, "Oh, so the leaks are kind of like the thing that came out that are the precursor."
Yeah.
just like when the original Call Me If You Get, or not Call Me If You Get Lost, Igor came out.
Yeah.
Earthquake.
Oh,
and Can We Be Friends? Those leaked before the album came out.
I think that was a real leak.
Right.
This leak, I feel like was a fraudulent.
Yeah, it was a fraudulent one. Okay,
for sure.
I was like, because before when those came out, I was like, I did hear them before the album came out, and I was like, wow.
I think maybe that's why I thought this album or Deluxe wouldn't happen because those leaks were so purposeful.
Right.
To me,
I'm
like, those are probably the best quality leaks anyone's ever heard. Like, why are these leaks like high quality compared to every other leak we've ever heard?
Yeah, new sound in them too. Like, it sounded
for sure. And it's always the perfect snippet. It's like,
yes, exactly.
Like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was actually leaking. And I think about some of the Drake leaks I had. Remember we talked about Certified Lover Boy? I had 2 different versions of that album before that album came out. And that felt more unintentional than, these picture perfect leaks for Call Me If You Get Lost. So yeah, I do think it was intentional. I think it worked because you even questioned if it was intentional or not. So it did work. People were talking about it, and there was that buzz leading up.
Yep.
But I do think it was intentional. But I don't make him lose points for that because
yeah, I don't think it's like a point loss thing. It was just something that I thought about when I was listening to it, because when this came out, this ASL came out, I was looking for. I'm like, okay, I think the leaks are gonna be on this, right?
Yeah.
But none of them were. So that's why I was like, oh, maybe it was like kind of like a low-key promotional tactic. He is very in touch with the internet, child of the internet type person. So I was like, it's possible that he leaked it on purpose.
Yeah. and as well, in touch enough to think that people don't really care if something leaked on purpose or not. I think, after the fact, especially the mid-2000s, early 2010s era, we've heard all this revisionist history of songs leaked purposefully. Of someone saying, oh, I wanted the song to come out, so I leaked it, or I didn't want so-and-so on it, so I leaked it before they got on it. Right. Or whatever reasons there are.
The label wouldn't let us put it out, so we leaked it.
So we've heard all these different stories of why something gets leaked, but that's not as important. It's always, we just happy to hear it.
Yeah.
So in this sense, for him to take it upon himself, from my eyes, and leak it himself, there's no harm in that, because all we want to do is hear it. We don't care how it got to us. So yeah, I'm happy he leaked it.
Okay. So lyrically, we were like, I remember, I think this was the album where I started to say, where I'm like, I think Tyler the Creator is just number one.
This is where you started to say it. That's correct.
Right, where I started to say he's just like number one. I don't think anybody else is in his realm, right? Because he's able to rap about things. Yeah. He's a luxury rapper, right? But then he also raps about his bisexuality, which very few rappers are willing to even talk about their sexuality beyond the amount of people that they have sex with.
Yeah. Other than that, don't want to hear it. Yeah.
Right. So there's that, and then also his ability to actually draw different influences. I mean, DJ Drama wasn't really. I mean, he was obviously I think he was Lil Uzi Vert's. He was like he ran the label Uzi is signed to, but outside of that, kind of just like latent. He's kind of dormant. Right, and then he brought him back to life, right? So
big time.
So I feel like this is again this deluxe that feels kind of just like a mixtape. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you listen to it, I feel like he kind of like, again, he was like adding a new element, because when you listen to the project all the way through, Call Me If You Get the estate sale. Should we just call it the estate sale?
Yeah, let's call it the estate sale.
Yeah, if you listen to the estate sale all the way through, DJ Drama is like a legitimate part of it again.
Yep.
So I just like found it really interesting that he's still like bringing those elements, bringing in new elements, or continuing, certain elements and stuff like that. So I still, his commitment to that is still showing me like he's still trying to experiment, still trying to make things continuous in certain ways. Like there's still creative juice left in in the estate sale versus its predecessor. That I'm like, wow, there's still like shit going on. Which most people with their deluxe, it's kind of just like, oh, here are the extra songs. Yeah, right. He's like, actually, no, here's the extra songs, but let me put it in a case, in a suitcase.
Yeah,
right? Like on the front.
them having an intro. Music videos for
there's music videos.
He
did interviews and stuff like that before, so it's a real thing to him, And it's also been 2 years since the original came out, and that's when he's due. He's supposed to. He comes out every 2 years.
He is due, and I think too. Like that's the other thing we had to mention. People don't usually do a deluxe 2 years after their album comes out. Maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month, but 2 years after the original. You know, he said before that he likes to milk his albums and like promote them for a long time. This is a part of that, but I think also that this signifies to me at least that he's going to be leaving this place, this space. You know, like there could be another album of that. We would take another album of him and DJ Drama.
Yep.
Call Me If You Get Lost too. I would be down for it. But doing this as a deluxe, as the estate sale, kind of signifies to me that his next project, which all projects kind of have to move on to a different place.
Yeah.
The next is going to be the same.
Yeah.
It's not going to be in the same, you know, Gangsta Grills type of vibe. And I think too, again, I don't know when these were written, so I can't say, but his subject matter on the songs on the estate sale compared to the songs on Call Me If You Get Lost, couple of different topics that he's not really talking about on Call Me If You Get Lost.
Like what? Tell me what.
I think him talking about family or him not wanting a family.
Yeah.
Because there is that line where he says, don't want kids because I need my space, not gonna call that selfish. And then on Heaven to Me, he talks about, you know, his prospective future of having a wife and kids and that being heaven to him. So I thought that was very interesting of him first saying I didn't want kids, and then saying this would be, you know, almost like heaven. He says, lake water getting warmer from the radiant sun, my baby mama and my daughter getting chased by my son. The water gun is in his arms, that little nigga could run. He get it from his daddy's side, you know them Nigerians. When I pull up in a helicopter, sister is in the kitchen cooking. Jackson mixing vodka. After dinner, I'll convince him they should be babysitting them. Me and wifey getting ready to see the opera. This house we come to see when we got nothing to do. The big yard, quaint size with the immaculate view. My boat dock got a yacht with the slide on the side. My son and I got bikes that we could ride. I'll show him how to wheelie. He's setting out a whole scene here. This is like, he's named the mad family members. You know, this is like different days when they were playing, having dinner, going to the opera. So he's kind of like spelling out this life for himself in the future that he would like to have. And this, I think, is something you don't see very often. I think people talk about, you know, I want to get $100 million or I want this. How many times you hear rappers talk about, I can't wait to have an amazing family and have my mother and sister hanging out more and my son with, like, you know, like, yes, some rappers do talk about that who might be already married and they want to continue to stay married. You know, someone who in the same album said, I don't know about having kids, but the thought of having this huge, wonderful, loving family by the water, going to see the opera, sounds amazing to him. So I think even how excited he sounds about that is, you talk about, he says stuff that no one else says, talk about stuff no one else talks about. This is an example of that. Yeah. Like, and it's an example that we wouldn't have thought of or mentioned 2 years ago when we reviewed the first album.
Right. That's very true. I think that even he goes so far as like, I'm in my 40s looking 20-something. I don't ask for nothing. Everything is moi. Right? That's heaven for a God. Right? My health is on 100. You feel me? I think the fact that he's talking about being 40, and also like just like envisioning like a lot of people in hip hop, they're gonna be young forever. Yeah. Right. This is kind of like the essence of the genre. Everybody's just young and like bombastic, audacious. And he's just like, yeah, it's gonna be sweet when I'm 40 years old. It's gonna be great.
It's crazy to it's crazy to think.
Yeah, I think that that vision is relatively new, because even like you think about like Drake when he said he would be like retiring at like 35. Yeah. And then he did that interview with Lil Yachty and he's like, I fucking hate that I said that because I was so dumb. Crazy. So that's just to show you like that Tyler is willing to even think beyond his current space like that and like actually want to really look forward to his 40s, which I'm just like kind of wild. Yeah, it's wild for the genre, you know. Maybe
it's wild in general, but yes, wild for the genre as well. And I think this is a part of hip hop that has been lacking. But talking about these kind of real life things that happen to everyone, regardless of what industry you're in, regardless of how much money you make, regardless of how famous you are, like thinking about growing old and having a family and what that means. You don't have to be a rapper to relate to that. You don't have to be a millionaire to relate to that. And that's the kind of thing that, again, Tyler's 32. He's not an ancient by any means, but that's something I don't think 22-year-old Tyler would be rapping about. 22-year-old Tyler wouldn't make a song about being 30, but 32-year-old Tyler would make a song about being 40. And so that's kind of a maturity that, a lot of the bigger artists, I think, have this as part of their success, but it's them as a person. Like, how are they growing as a person as well as growing in their music? And Tyler was kind of showing us both sides at the same time. Like, he's peeling back, like, I used to do this. I'm not proud of that. I do this now, that kind of thing. So Tyler being one of the, I guess, forefathers in that way of progressively, making these songs that are not about the same things over and over again. Yeah. Very impressive.
Yeah, to even go back to your idea of like 20-year-old, 22-year-old would be talking about 30-year-old. I remember on Sorry Not Sorry where he's like, he even literally talks about that, he's like, I'm sorry, sis, I'm sorry, I'm your kin. Sorry we ain't close like we should have been. Sorry to my old friends. The story we would have wrote if egos didn't take the pen, right? Like he's like reflective on
that song is real.
Yeah. Also like shout out Odd Future. Shout out Odd Future and the Odd Future days. But yeah, so that just shows like, he even recognized he would not be able to be, he just didn't. Yeah. He literally just didn't. He wouldn't and didn't write about anything beyond like the madness and mayhem.
Yeah, I was gonna say the madness and mayhem is so accurate.
Yeah, that was like the early days of Odd Future.
I was like, what are you gonna call this? The madness and mayhem is absolutely right.
So I think that he is reflective, which is something that I honestly well, that's not true because like on Igor and stuff like that, he is reflective too. But there's just this reflective ness of like looking back on himself. I think he before his reflection was more of like last year or the past year I did like some stupid shit or I lied to this person XYZ. Now he's more like in the future, like 10 years, in the past 10 years, like those are things that were not part of his like his lore as an artist in any way. So it's really cool to see him do that. I think Sorry Not Sorry is like big moment for him as like when it comes to reflection as an artist. And I just think it's really interesting to hear because he's because he even says he's rapping like he actually raps about a lot of things. Yeah, which is a little bit of a surprise because again I do think currently he is a luxury rapper. He is more akin to Rick Ross than he is to like Frank Ocean currently. Yes, I think. Yes. But yeah, so like even saying like sorry you think I'm pathetic. Sorry I don't want to bro down. Sorry, I don't know your pronouns. I don't mean no disrespect, but damn, we just met. Calm the fuck down. So I think he's even, the spicy Tyler.
Spicy. He's still there.
He's still in there. I think it's the spice is less. Yes. It's toning down the spice, but
different kind of spice.
Exactly. He's kind of, I would say, meeting that subject of the pronouns thing, right? I think 22-year-old Tyler the Creator would have ran straight through it.
Oh my God.
Right?
For sure.
in the worst way. But 32-year-old Tyler, he's more of like he understands both sides of like he's kind of like, you could tell that he is like he's like the pronouns thing 100% gets it. I think he understands it 1,000%, gets it 1,000%, but he's also like I just met you, like forgive me for not knowing it.
Exactly.
So I think that he's there you can see the younger version peeking out, but the older version tamping it down.
Very much. And I think there's something too. He's mentioned this a couple of times on this project about someone say he should speak out on Black issues and things like that, which Tyler, again, one of the artists who doesn't really do that. Where Tyler is a large voice in the Black community and one of the larger Black voices that speaks to white people. Yeah. So that's something that, again, he's still not speaking on it, but him even talking about not speaking on it is something he wouldn't have done before. And then as well, this thing about the pronouns is like 22-year-old Tyler was a different Tyler. Yeah. Tyler is technically a part of the community that he's talking about. So it's like, even with things like that, it's like he's not tiptoeing, he's still being himself, but as well, he is more of a self-awareness, I would say. Yes, exactly. I think that was what was missing in his lyrics before, but the self-awareness has grown a lot. And I think this is the main. This to me is why I love this project so much. The estate sale and as well, Call Me If You Get Lost is him showing his influences. I think that if you weren't a Future fan before, a lot of people were kind of turned off by their style, their antics. What did you call it? The madness,
mayhem, bro. The madness and mayhem.
Both March Madness, and the mayhem. People were turned off by that, and I think now people can kind of see, that he's past that as well, but that he's not as different from everyone as they thought. He still is very unique. Let's not get it twisted. He's Tyler, the Creator. But I think there's a time when he first came out where it was like, he's all the way over here. Like, I can't relate to nothing he's saying. I don't know how he's dressing, how he's talking. I don't know nothing about that. And as he's grown, you see him getting more in the middle where it's like, again, DJ Drama on the project. Any hip hop fan knows about DJ Drama. No matter how different you think Tyler is.
Allegedly, you would think, but the wider social media who has not listened to music before 2005 has no idea.
Listen, I'm gonna be respectful with this. All the people who didn't know who DJ Drama was before 2021, your musical opinion to me just went down like 80%. Like, he was on the news getting arrested.
Well,
pre-naps. Anyways, we don't have to go into that. But those influences that Tyler has that kind of mirror some of the people who are at the center of hip hop, and I think that is what's the difference now. One of the big influences on this album that I see a lot is Kanye West.
Absolutely.
Obviously Kanye is a difficult name to say at these times, but Heaven to Me, John Legend song, produced by Kanye West. From that, big time good music era. But even the way that Tyler attacks that song in the chorus, with him kind of more speaking than rapping and saying, "This is heaven to you, this is heaven to me." That's such a Kanye thing he did back in the day, where so many of his hooks, where the hook is just a couple lines of Kanye just saying something, and Tyler doing that style, I think it's kind of a big homage there. And as well, some of the topics. I think that is where I don't think Tyler's the best rapper right now. I'm not going to agree with you on that one. But I think he is one of the leaders, like, by a mile because of things like this. I think someone made Kanye a leader 20 years ago, 15 years ago, where he's the biggest, of course, but he's doing songs about stuff none of y'all is doing songs about. Like, you had 14 songs on your album. You didn't mention this one time, And I did a whole verse talking about it that everyone's listening to. A song like Roses is like, that's some people's favorite song to this day, where he's saying things in that song that, you listened to 10 rap albums that year and you didn't hear. Right. And to hear things that you don't usually hear from the biggest artists, that's where I see that parallel with Kanye and Tyler. Tyler being the biggest artist where he can talk his shit and say, I'm in the 100 mils and these are the price. Like, all that is factual. But on top of, flexing on you in a way that you can't compete with, he's also talking about things that are not even on the cutting room floor of your studio sessions.
Yeah, that's true. He's definitely, I feel like, experimenting on both sides. I think What a Day is like where kind of those two things come together. Yeah. Because What a Day, it has that soul sample in the background. It's very slow, and it's got the gangsta Greasy Hills intro, right? But it's also super slow. And if you think about Call Me If You Get Lost, the original, that shit was all over the place. And then Igor had this like graininess to it, right? So for him to just like chill, relax, is a kind of a little bit out of the box for him. But one of the things that he says on it as well also showed like the change between old Tyler and new Tyler, or current Tyler, where he's like okay, feeling myself, ego masturbating, I graduated, right? After 5 albums, I got syndicated. You want the old T? Sorry, G, that picture faded. Come get with me. I thought that was just, first of all, that part was sick. Bars. But it was also, I don't know if it's a superstition or not, but like, when a person dies, people will say like your picture fades, like, and you'll see people like rubbing the photo, trying to get the shine back on the photo or something like that. So I just thought that was really interesting. Plus, he said I got syndicated, which was a flex because let's remember Tyler, the Creator, did do TV, and did get syndicated. But also his music is just like, I feel like
worldwide.
It's the heartbeat of so many if you're like a 20-something-year-old, like a young 20-something-year-old, his music is like the heartbeat of your taste, right? I feel like so many people sprout in different directions from Tyler the Creator's music when it comes to taste. And I think when you listen to What a Day, it also has like this reminiscent vibe, and like that's when I'm like, oh shit, man, Freddie Gibbs would have been dope on this. Yeah. Rick Ross would have been great on this. You know, even though he is Drake adjacent, right? Because Drake's been to the festival and stuff like that. A Drake feature would be a very interesting, very nice collab. Yeah, he still doesn't have it.
Now is actually the time.
Yeah, right. Also, Drake is like he's pulling everybody on stage now. It seems he's done features with literally he's done features with like Playboi Carti, bro.
Also, fun fact: if you're reading this, is Too Late was supposed to be a Gangsta Grillz mixtape, so that would have been the Call Me If You Get Lost for Call Me If You Get Lost.
Exactly.
You know, sliding doors effect. Call Me If You Get Lost maybe doesn't happen if Drake makes Drama come back.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the production style on that, I think the lyrics on that, I'm like, the metamorphosis of what he's doing is pretty interesting, because now you could see that the luxury, before it was chaotic, and now he can slow it down and still be like a luxury, but also still have like lyrics that are actually important in it. So I just think that song overall was probably my favorite. I don't know if it's 100% my favorite. Maybe Boyfriend Girlfriend is one of the best tracks, I think, on the estate sale. But What a Day, you don't think so? What a Day is one of my. You don't like Boyfriend Girl? Wow, tell me more about that. Hold on a second.
I think I just don't always love that Tyler singing voice that he does. That's basically not even Tyler to me. Like it doesn't even sound like him.
Yeah, he like pitch shifts it or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't even sound like him. Boyfriend Girlfriend to me is actually the worst song from the sale.
Oh my god. Yeah. I'm actually surprised. I'm so surprised by that.
It's your favorite song. I was like,
I think it's the most popular song. Everybody talks about it. So I'm actually surprised and it's also like
well, I would say that it's probably maybe in your circle, because it's the least streamed out of all the songs.
Oh, well.
That's not the intro. So, and the most streamed song that's not Dogtooth is Sorry Not Sorry.
Yeah.
But I to me, here's my thing. I think that Tyler, he's amazing. Let's not get it twisted. But the one thing that I would say he needs to improve on is the songs where he sings, because they have all of a similar like tone and tempo. Obviously, he can't really sing, so that I think that's a part of it. But a song like Boyfriend Girlfriend, he could have just rapped that. You know, but there's the voice he's doing in that. I like the beat a lot, so I don't hate this song. Production's sick. I like the beat a lot, but with his singing, I feel like he could have just rapped that, because he's just basically doing not singing but in a different voice. So wow. I thought that was
okay. I mean, I think Tyler the Creator's singing is like it's like so obviously his weakest part of his music. So I can understand that. I just thought the production on that
that production is crazy.
It's like the cutlery with the glasses making that ding 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 sound is great. The synths are fantastic, you know. I think that track is, maybe I'm just lost in the sauce of the production.
Yeah. No, I love the production. I love my production standouts. But
okay,
the song itself, no. Two more production notes that I have before we move on to like his career and the cover. Obviously, Dogtooth goes without saying, huge track. Do you like Dogtooth? I like Dogtooth a lot. I don't like it as much as the rest of the project. Yeah. Now that I heard the rest of the project, but Dogtooth is still an absolute banger. I think that's, you know, I think this is a lot of Tyler's style as a rapper. Like he is very much the no hook, go straight through, maybe half a bridge and then rap some more.
Yeah.
He I brought Heaven to Me in that hook because that was like one of his few like actual like rapping hooks that he's done, which hasn't done a lot of those, and that's something I don't think he's figured out all the way yet. That rapping hooks that are still the same tempo as the song, because I was like, What a Day, Heaven to Me, even Sorry Not Sorry. Yep. Those are a very slow tempo, and to get rapping Tyler on like the slow tempo is part of his evolution.
Right.
We know what rapping Tyler was back in the day, like very different energy. You know, to have something like What a Day where it's like he's straight rapping and rapping, but that song is so calm, so chill. And then production wise, songs like What a Day are so full and sound like real instruments. Like, forget his rapping. If you just play that instrumental,
yeah,
like it could be from a different time.
That's true.
And the same goes for songs like Boyfriend, Girlfriend, or WHARF Talk. Like WHARF Talk, those like keys since at the beginning, it's like real production happening there. And so for him to have that mix of these songs that sound so full, like real instruments, and he's rapping on them, that's not a lot of artists' MO right now.
True.
That's not like a big thing that artists are doing. That maybe in the 90s that was way more of a thing where artists like Common and The Roots.
Yeah, they're like real instruments, real instrumentals, you know.
You know, that's not a thing now. If you rap, your real instruments are probably not a part of your music. So that's one thing production-wise that I think was a great, excellent move, because that's what sets him apart in terms of having DJ Drama on it. I think DJ Drama, you know, to some people for sure, he was very dormant, but he's done a lot of mixtapes over the past few years before Tyler with some big artists that maybe it wasn't a big project for them as a main project, but his voice was around. Jack Harlow, Uzi.
Yeah.
They're not doing this. The real instruments and having DJ Drama on it.
Yeah, that combo is a little bit unprecedented.
For sure. He's done some mixtapes with like bands, like he did a mixtape with The Neighborhood.
Yeah.
So he has done that before, but that's not his MO.
Yeah.
And so Tyler, you know, again, making that to the forefront, huge.
Yeah, I think that overall, I think it's extremely well produced. I think DJ Drama's inclusion as just like the dude yelling over the track is excellent. And I think I complimented it on the original review that we did for Call Me If You Get Lost. I think on the estate sale, you know, I'm out there in the Twitterverse, in the TikTok verse, right? The complaints about DJ Drama just are an indication of like you are not versed enough in the genre. Like you're not fully understanding.
I'm happy you said that, and that's a lot of Tyler's fans.
Yeah,
and I think that is such a unique spot for you saying he's the best rapper right now.
Yeah,
but such a huge part of his fan base doesn't speak hip hop fluently. Like. Such a unique spot.
Yeah, I think the DJ Drama inclusions are just hilarious. And also, again, still make it feel like a mixtape, even though it's a full-fledged album and this is the deluxe, whatever. But it still makes it feel like Tyler's not a street artist, but it makes it feel like a street project.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Which is something that his music wouldn't have, just like the production style, what he raps about, nothing of that is like street related, but having that extra basically texture, I hate using that word, so I like, but that extra level of texture does make it add an extra element to the project. So I think that his inclusion again is great. I think that the production style overall is kind of I got, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, when I was listening to songs like WHARF Talk and like Dogtooth, I was getting more Flower Boy than I was getting Call Me If You Get Lost.
Yeah, no, you know what's funny? I think I should have mentioned something like that. That's the most of what the estate sale is that this production isn't as much like Call Me If You Get Lost.
Yeah.
The raps are still rapping.
Yep.
And Drama is still, you know, doing his thing. But, you know, I mentioned Stuntman reminds me of Wolf. WHARF Talk, Dogtooth are more Flower Boy.
Yeah.
Heaven to Me and What a Day are definitely not Call Me If You Get Lost.
No.
So that is the difference. If you want to say there's a difference between this and the actual album, you said it right there. A lot of the production on the estate sale is more of Tyler's past projects, more than Call Me If You Get Lost.
So it's that to me is like it's not a demerit. Like I don't feel like it's taking away anything. I guess the cohesion of the project is not there, especially when you go from Stuntman to What a Day. It's so absolutely jarring. Even though those are two great tracks, it's just completely
two different worlds.
Yeah,
two different worlds.
Like so, there's a little bit of like I think, which is it's not typically true for new Tyler. Is like the cohesion is not as beautifully done as Flower Boy or Igor or Call Me If You Get Lost. Like when we talk about cohesion on those, it was like that's like one of the best strengths of it. You know, you just run that shit all the way through. This one, not so much. I feel like it was more grab baggy than it is a full project like the previous ones.
Yeah. That's kind of why I'm like, this is definitely a deluxe. Like that's very deluxe-y.
Yeah.
Of that, it's like here are some songs.
Yeah.
I do like the cover. It is the same motif as Call Me If You Get Lost. You know, him with his suitcases. We saw him.
This is if you get the vinyl. This is the cover.
Oh yeah, you're right. This is the vinyl.
Yeah, this is the vinyl cover.
And
I should have brought the vinyl. I don't know why I did not bring I have the vinyl.
Drop the ball.
Oh my God, I have the vinyl.
You got to make a TikTok when you get home.
I know.
Show everyone the vinyl. But I like that you stay with the theme because this is the theme of his concert as well. So staying with the same theme,
which we went to.
Yeah, same theme for the deluxe. I think works. When I think about what this means for his career, I'm very interested to see how many people will be taking from this because Tyler is one of those artists where he, in a sense, is very influential just for being himself.
Right.
But there's not that many people trying to be like Tyler.
True.
I think musically, and I think that the sound of a lot of these songs at the back end or the estate sale are not Call Me If You Get Lost vibes. Like you said, Flower Boy, Wolf, you know, even just Kanye type vibes. And will that be something people are trying? Because this is the biggest artist or one of the biggest rappers right now doing these sounds that are he's always been far from the middle for sure. But this is even far from what his last middle was 2 years ago. Yeah. So will that be something that people try, do more of? Like I think of Little Brother a lot with the sound of some of these songs.
Okay, yeah.
And it's like these are sounds that I think could, you know, some of the big rappers could do these sounds, but they choose not to. So I'm interested to see if that's something that happens because I think that Tyler is getting into that legacy artist place. This is what his 6th, 7th album.
Yeah, something like that. I want to say 6.
Yeah, and he's getting into legacy act territory where he has all these different eras. And we saw him live. He did like a whole throwback part of his set.
And and people were raving over that.
Like 20, and it's crazy. He did 20 minutes of like a verse of these old songs, and then went back into his set. And it's like he has that many songs he can do. So my thing for his career is to see the influence that he has going forward. I think with the past 3 projects, he's been on the last great run of these 3 projects. Yeah, he's now moved out of like he's the weird guy over here to now he's the weird guy that's at the center of everything. Yes. You know, he's still not, again, with the little babies, Gunnas of the world. I think that's the thing that's interesting is that he's still not working with those people. Yeah. Like, you know, he has a lot of features.
He's so immensely popular and does not work with like Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Lil Baby, Gunna. I think maybe he has a Gunna song. I'm trying to think. I think he has a feature with Gunna.
I don't know.
No.
Bro. I don't think so.
But he has Young Boy.
Young Boy's on this thing. And obviously he works with Wayne a lot.
Yeah.
But it's things like that I'm interested to see how those things manifest because, you know, we've seen it as well, like as all these guys have gotten to the top or closer to the top, they've worked together less, you know? And Tyler was kind of always on the left and never work with these guys. Yeah, yeah. So will he be more of a collaborator now that he is kind of on the same level in a way as the J. Coles and Drakes of the world?
Yeah, I think his influence is, well, first of all, I don't think he's gonna end up collaborating with those dudes. I think I think he is so far created his own lane that he doesn't need anybody else. I mean, the people he collaborates with, like Vince Staples, always like I feel like is always close to Tyler.
Sure. They toured together 3 times.
Yeah, and then like Kali Uchis, so he's kind of got like his own cadre. Yeah, right. Yeah, and they're all mainstream adjacent, just like him. Kali Uchi, I don't, maybe she's mainstream now. I would.
Nah, not yet.
So it's kind of
mainstream adjacent.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Mainstream adjacent. I'm like, if you mention Kali Uchi to music fans, everybody knows who she is. Yeah. General pop, maybe not.
Yeah, depends.
Depends. Yeah, depends how in tune their children are. But I think that his influence is probably going to still be like those left of center type of dudes, you know. I think about like Brockhampton or like, you know, like Brockhampton, I feel was in the same realm as Tyler the Creator. And I think that that space, that alt rap space, he's the leader. Like it's like not even close. There's literally nobody else.
He is the leader. And that's kind of why I'm so interested at this time, especially because there have been a lot of big, popular, successful alt rappers. He's not the first by any means. But for someone to be this successful, like how many alt rappers have had the highest grossing rap tour of the year? Yeah. That's not something that usually happens.
Yeah, he's like alt rap, but it's mainstream. right? So it's kind of, but it's its own shit. Like he's got his own shit. So I don't think that the center mainstream, the Lil Babies, Gunna's, Young Thugs, etc., Drake's, they're not coming over, even though Tyler does appreciate them, because Tyler did invite Drake to his festival, but his entire fan base fucking booed him.
Wild.
So it's weird. It's a weird thing, but he's in the golden position though.
Oh, for sure. That's what I think is my kind of takeaway from this is like this EP deluxe estate sale is reinforcing that with Tyler, because he's in a place where he's immensely popular. Like if you listen to rap or just music in general, he has to be mentioned at some point. But he seems like he's not gonna get to that place where he's overplayed anytime soon.
Right.
Like that's just not gonna be in his wheelhouse. And as well, he's not getting that kind of hate that maybe J. Cole fans have got of like, you love him too much, just relax. You know, like he seems in this great middle ground where immensely popular, everyone's aware of him and aware of his music, but he's not going to be overplayed anytime soon. His fans are not getting hate. Like the hate that his fans got is in the past.
Yeah.
That already happened.
The hate is like, why do you guys all dress like him? Why does everybody wear pastels? Why does everybody wear the hat? How come everybody's wearing sweater vests?
It's not as bad. You think it would be worse.
It was worse.
I've seen Tyler, I think 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And like I saw Tyler and ASAP together at one point. It was disappointing out. ASAP fan, Tyler fan. ASAP fan, Tyler fan.
Yeah, I also think fashion, because that's one of the criticisms about his fans. Fashion has shifted in Tyler the Creator's direction.
Oh, for sure.
Right? People wear vests now.
Yeah.
The colors people wear, the type of jewelry men wear now.
Yeah.
Right? It's more feminine.
Yeah.
Right? Men typically, I am not a good current example.
Yeah, but it exists.
Yeah, I would say men's like fashion at this point in time in the 2020s has shifted more feminine, and Tyler the Creator has already been there. He's been sitting there waiting for everybody to catch up. Right. So I think that
I wonder how that's gonna go. I feel like he would hate that. Like
I don't think so.
Everyone dressing like you,
sort of. Yeah.
I hate that. I'm a Tyler the Creator. If I go somewhere and me and someone are wearing anything remotely similar, I'm pissed.
Right.
If you open your app
and everyone looks like you,
but I'll say this, maybe not because all the rappers still dress the same, but not like Tyler.
Right.
And so even in the industry, he'll still be,
he's still
like the civilians will be all dressing like Tyler, but when he goes to an award show or some kind of celebrity party,
people still don't look like him.
So, in the end, maybe it may not be that. But you're right. Fashion has gone more in his direction.
Yeah.
And I'm so interested to see how this next stage of his career goes, because back-to-back Grammys, some of the biggest albums of the past few years hit a whole change in how he's been perceived. I think about when I went to some of the first concerts I went to see Tyler the Creator, and the reactions people were giving me of like I saw him when Wolf came out.
Oh,
and imagine the reaction of people being like,
what?
You're gonna see Tyler? And then, now me seeing Tyler and they go, oh my God, you saw
Tyler? Yeah, that's so awesome.
Such a change. And I want to see like how that manifests over the next few years, because he is definitely getting his flowers, which I'm happy that he's getting. I think he deserves it. But I have seen this go the other way so many times. So I'm interested to see if that happens for him, how it happens, and kind of how he responds to it. Because I do think that he's getting his just due and his respect in a way that I never saw this happening for him.
Yeah, that's definitely true. He is survived. I think he survived longer than the industry thought he would.
For sure.
I think he's also switched it up way different than anybody thought he would. Yeah. So he is. That's why I'm interested musically where he goes from here, because he kind of always has that next sound, next album mentality. This is the first time where I feel like circling back a little bit. But every 2 years, so he's on the clock for 2 years from now.
On the clock 2 years from now?
Yeah, he needs
to drop this year. What do you mean?
No, this is this is the drop.
This deluxe is the drop for you?
He did music videos. He's done interviews.
Whoa, okay.
Right?
We're going to have to wrap up soon. But
I'm just saying, I think for him, on a personal level, this is the drop, the 2-year drop. So in another 2 years.
If anyone knows Tyler, get this video to him. I'm not accepting that. This is not the drop. You don't drop an album 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And with 16 songs.
Yep.
Give me a 6-song deluxe.
Yeah.
5-song deluxe.
This is it's 8 songs. The 8 song to him, he's like, here's the 8-song EP. The estate sale. Because he never calls it Call Me If You Get Lost, the estate sale. He's always like, the estate sale. It also has its own vinyl.
I'm not jacking that.
It has its own vinyl.
You know what this is like? I hate this comparison, but it's actually factual. This is like the Demon Slayer movie. This is like, you think it's an actual movie and you go in theaters and it's 3 episodes of Demon Slayer.
Right.
That's what this is.
Hey,
right.
man. But it still counts as
its
own season, though. It still counts as its own season.
As we wrap up, I'll say this. If you're right and this is his drop and he's on the clock 2 years from now and we're going to wait till 2025 to get more music, I think that will play a part in how he's received and how he's viewed, like I was saying, and how that's going to go. I think that will play a huge part in it. As much as Tyler has like a very core, rabid fan base, he's never taken the like 10 years off or whatever like Frank Ocean seems to always do. Tyler's been consistent every 2 years, basically since his first album. Yeah, since Goblin, has not missed a 2-year window. Yeah. Always been 2 years.
Also, Fast and Furious is coming. I think it's like anytime a Fast and Furious movie is coming out, I think it's like every.
And he drops.
Yeah, he drops the same year as the Fast and Furious. So when the next Fast and I'm telling you, this is the drop, bro.
No, I guess you're right. Because he can't drop 2 with Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
When they drop 1. He has to have it be 1 for 1.
Exactly.
So I'm just going to see, because if it's going to be his first hiatus, technically, of his career, excited to see how that goes, because he's in a space where he can afford to do that, I think, more than ever. But it's never happened before. Okay. So excited to see where that goes. I want to know where you're at for a score for this deluxe. How are you going to score this deluxe?
I think to me, it's an 8. I think there's sonic retread that's happening.
Yes.
I think he is also a victim of his own success in a way, because I'm like, I know what you can do. And also there's better, sound, like, there are Flower Boy songs that are kind of better than Dogtooth, right? And, the other sounds that it's similar to, he's already made better songs in those soundscapes. And I think that the singing portion on Boyfriend Girlfriend is not very good. Let's just keep it a buck. The song is good though, like the production and the rapping is good. The singing is not that good, but so there are some sonic retreads. I think that, but overall, it's always well produced. I think Tyler the Creator's at that point, kind of like Kanye West, where they can't really produce a bad song anymore. And he also has a defined soundscape, I would say, that is ever expanding. But he can still go back to previous versions. I think lyrically, he actually raps about like really interesting stuff this time. I think that on top of being a luxury rapper, right, where he raps about places he's been, type of cars that he drives. I remember he's like, one of the songs he's like, pull up in the what the fuck is that?
Sounds like Tyler.
Yeah, that's a sick bar, but he's also rapping about being 40 years old, having children, pronouns, rapping about pronouns. That's that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Like no other rapper raps about that shit. You know what I mean?
Never.
I think Kendrick Lamar is probably the closest thing when he was rapping about his trans relative. But that's it.
Yeah.
So I think to me, it's an 8, solid 8. But there are flaws. There are a little bit of like, kind of heard this a little bit before, but there's too much good shit happening on it for it to not be, an 8 out of 10, to be honest. I think it's too good.
I think for me, the estate sale's a 7 out of 10. There's some songs on here I really like a lot. Like I really be playing a lot. But I think this project to me is more just the new music that we're getting. It is, he's due. It's 2 years. Yeah. And we're just like, oh, new music. Finally. I think there is a bit of that. I do think that there are really good songs on here, but I think there is a bit of that where it's like, oh,
we're finally getting new music.
We're finally getting new music. Yeah. So to me, it's a 7 out of 10. I do hope this is not his drop for the year. This is
definitely the drop.
I'm not satisfied with this.
This is definitely it.
So I hope that there's something more after this. But again, I'm excited to see where he goes, because I have a feeling that he's going to go in a completely different direction, which I don't know where that is. The Cherry Bomb direction, we saw that already. Igor, we saw what that looks like. Yeah. Call Me If You Get Lost. We know what this is.
Are you getting the vinyl?
Is the vinyl going to be just the estate sale, or is it going to be the full album?
I think it's Both. I can't 100% remember.
If it's both, then I'll be getting the vinyl.
If it's just the estate sale though?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm not getting the vinyl for 7 songs.
It's 8 songs. Why do you keep shortchanging the songs? It's 8 songs.
Don't count the intro.
The intro counts.
I'm not counting the intro. Every time you ask me, it's less and less and less. By the end of the pod, it will be 1 song.
Yeah.
I'll begin the vinyl. What do you think?
I think
if you already have the vinyl though.
I do already have the vinyl, even though I did not bring it. I think that I would get it. I think I'm at the point now where Tyler the Creator's music is almost like a collectible. Yeah. It's getting to that point now. Because the quality is actually so high with the music that he's been making since Flower Boy that I feel like if you don't pick it up, you're gonna you kind of regret it.
You're gonna regret it.
Yeah, you're gonna regret it.
Yeah, you're gonna.
It's not even so much like, oh, this is so sick. I just think because of his artistry and fandom, if you don't have like all of the pieces, then you kind of like miss you're either missing it feels like you're missing puzzle pieces to his artistry overall. Yes. So if it does exist, I feel like I'm giving in to the pressure. 100%, you know, 100%. If it exists if it's a singular, I actually think the opposite. If it's like the singular vinyl of just the 8 tracks, I would get it. If it's like all of the shit again, I'm like, I already have the original, so I don't need to. I feel like I don't need to get it again. So yeah, I would if it's just the 8 tracks, which is weird to say.
And last but not least, I think this is going to be the most memorable motif of his career. Looking at all his album covers when he had the cross on his head, looking like 21 Savage. The golf hat, the ski mask, the cherry bomb, Igor. I think Call Me If You Get Lost, this era will be the era that like if we were to do a Tyler tribute, this is what they would be wearing. Yeah. So I think getting this vinyl for that cover.
I disagree. I think the pink suit with the blonde wig was iconic.
No, it was, but that's not. I don't think when you think of Tyler, that's what you think of. I think that's like a time that he wore that. It's like when people think of Kanye, they probably more think of Graduation Kanye with the bear and the hat more than Red October Kanye.
That's true. Even
though that was also a time. Yeah. So I think this is gonna be, wherever his career goes, if you're gonna put him, if they say he goes in the wax museum, this is what he'll be wearing.
I don't think so. I think maybe this will be a discussion for another pod, but I think the blonde wig and the teal suit was insane.
It was, but it doesn't look like him, and it's not what people think of when they think of him.
We'll you know what? Maybe we'll do like a survey or a TikTok or some shit about that, because I think that the Igor look is it was so absolutely iconic for him.
I think it was, but I just don't think that's his signature. He didn't. It's like Kanye. Kanye has that iconic looks, but you might not think of that look when you think of Kanye. Right. So I think this is another one of those, but. Also, too, like he's just not wearing that again. That's not happening.
Yeah, he's not wearing that shit. He said he's not wearing that shit.
Yeah, like that's the thing is like we saw him live. Imagine if he went into costume and then did the Igor songs. Yeah. Then maybe it's a different ball game. Like he's just not doing that. Yeah. He's like, no, I'm gonna do these Igor songs.
He performs in shorts.
That's the thing. I'm gonna do these Igor songs in my shorts. Like I'm not wearing that. So it's like those songs. I think in that time I'll be remembered, but. The further we get away from it, like we're not gonna see that again, where it's gonna be in everyone's minds.
Okay, I still think it's Igor, but you can say whatever. We'll make this. This is gonna be a TikTok. Yeah, 1,000%.
I'm so interested to see what people think. If people do agree with you, because I just think that even the people I know who are new Tyler fans, they wouldn't think of that. They think of Tyler, and as well, I don't think it looks like Tyler. I feel like if you're gonna say. Who's this person in this wig and a suit, and it's just a silhouette, you're not gonna think Tyler.
All right, if you say so, because I actually strongly disagree. I think because I think we're having Tyler the Creator like career in like a full view, like all of it, right. But if you're like a newer Tyler fan, he actually exists from like Flower Boy forwards, and Flower Boy he didn't really have a look. Igor was like the first time he looked like something.
No, that was like a distinctive look.
Yeah. This one, like the hat, I would say the hat is really like what
the hat and the colors.
Yeah,
and the loafers.
Yeah, the hat and the loafers, right? But I think the hat is the most prominent thing. Yeah. But it's not as like
much as that.
Yeah, it doesn't stand out as much as he had like a costume. Like That was like the first time he really dove into having a costume to accompany his work. So yeah, we'll see.
Interesting.
We'll see.
I do want to talk about this more, but we're getting
we're getting long.
Yeah. Follow me this far in the podcast. First of all, follow us on the interwebs at Album Mode Pod on Twitter, at Album Mode Pod on Instagram, at Album Mode Pod on TikTok. Let us know which is the Tyler motif you will remember for all time.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know the answers to that. Make sure you subscribe to us. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Make sure you leave us a rating and a review. 5 stars, not a single star less. And of course, until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Later days.